Hey, I'm Fuzzy Hall, and I'm here to teach you a little bit about dirt jumping today. And stick close, pay attention, you might learn something. I started racing bikes back in 1979, and when I was 9 years old, and I've grown up racing bikes. This is my first cover shot in 1987. That's back when tricks were pretty easy. They've gotten a lot tougher. This one I'm really proud of. This is the first cover ride, and this is in 1992. They've come a long way also. And this is my first cover shot in Snap. When I first started riding, some of the more basic tricks that I learned were no footers, X-ups, one-handers, one-footers, and then I moved into tabletops and combinations, maybe a one-footer tabletop. No spinning tricks yet. And that's about it. Bike setup is probably like the main important thing you need, to get through all this dirt jumping stuff, because if your bike's not running good, you're not going to get through rhythm sections, you're not going to be able to jump very well. So probably the most important thing on my bike are probably the wheels. The wheels are everything. You want a nice hub. On my bike now I have a profile, the SS, like the cassette hubs to keep your speed going through rhythm. Profile cranks, the best out on the market. Your frame to connect all the parts together. I have a Mongoose. This is my signature model. It's a great bike for dirt jumping. I have an S&M fork, super tough, one of the best forks made. My wheels are 48 spoke. It's not the lightest stuff in the world, but it's going to take all the punishment. I have a gyro, for all your bar spin tricks. And I have platform pedals because I don't like any of the sharp pedals, or I don't like to be clipped in. It's pretty stupid if you do that. Some of the special stuff I do to my bike besides cutting down the bars is like I run my chain really tight because see how tight that is there? A lot of times we're in the air with no feet on, whatever, and I don't want my pedals spinning around in the air because that's a nightmare. So one of the things you want to do is if your bike's equipped with chain tensioners, just screw those back, and that'll pull the chain tight and still allow the back wheel to roll free, which is great for tricks. And if you don't have chain tensioners, you can really pull hard while you're locking down that rear wheel, and that'll help. Another thing you can do is lock your bottom bracket out, get your bottom bracket as tight as it'll possibly go, and that'll slow it down a lot. Because this isn't racing, it doesn't have to be fine-tuned like a race bike, and so this will help you out tremendously with no-footed tricks, no-footed cans, bar spin to no footers later on in life, all that stuff. I run my bars a little bit back with the angle of the fork. It's a feel that I've always had, and anytime I take them off, I can usually put it right back to where it needs to be. The only time it feels weird is like if you bend a fork or something like that, then everything in the front end feels messed up. Most people when they're starting off, they cut about an inch off, and if that's not enough, the following day they'll cut a little more off, a half inch on each side. And so a good way to do that is when the first side of the bar comes off, put it on the other side and mark that, and then you can go from there. And I cut my bars down. They're about 24 inches wide, which isn't much. That's about 2 inches off on each side. That's a pretty small handlebar, and that makes it a little easier for bar spin stuff, and it just feels really comfy being on the bend of the bar. I like that feeling. Maybe one day bars will come in special order widths, and you won't have to do that anymore. The seat height runs different with every rider. Some guys run them low, some guys run them high.
I do a lot of suicide bar spin tricks, so I'm always pinching the seat. So I run mine, I don't know, probably 5 inches up from where it inserts into the frame. I run around 60 pounds of pressure in the tires, anywhere from 45 to 60 pounds of pressure. And you can run more than that on this if you want, but that's what I'm comfy with. Go through the sport a little more, you'll put more money into your bike. There's 36 spoke wheels, which aren't as strong as 48. And you'll probably go through your set of 36 wheels like it's nothing. Maybe your next investment will be a 48 spoked wheel setup, which is going to be a lot more bomb proof. It's going to be less susceptible to being bent. You're definitely going to want to do a 48 spoked wheel, and if you can, even get them hand laced up, because like that's bomb proof there. It seems like a lot of the entry level bikes that you start out on, they have just a single crank arm, you know, nothing three-piece at all, and you'll bend those up real easy, along with a fork maybe. You know, when you're learning the sport, it's just rough on bikes, and that's all there is to it. You know, when you do put new parts on, you're going to want to put better quality parts for sure, because if you don't, you put the same part on that you broke, you'll just do the same thing over again. I guarantee it. The types of jumps that I start off on was definitely tabletop jumps. You know, mostly everything we have here is doubles. One of the jumps we have here is a step-up jump or a cheater jump, and it's basically the landing is higher than the takeoff, and so it kind of slows your momentum down when you land up there. That helps out a lot learning. You know, you're jumping up onto the landing instead of down the landing. Dirt jumping used to be, you know, back in the day, it was just one big jump, like a one-hit wonder, you know, and you just pedaled your butt off and hit the jump and tried your trick. Nowadays, the sport's evolved into rhythm sections, turns, all kinds of different stuff to combo out stuff, you know, like, you know, you'd be going through a rhythm section, which is a series of jumps. You know, some contests nowadays have just a 4-pack, you know, up to an 8-pack. You go to trails, local trails, you can get into packs that are just forever. And so you've got to learn how to pump through a rhythm section. You've got to land perfectly, pump down the backside, and if you don't get backside, don't hit the next jump. That's all there is to it. So you've got to really focus on bringing the front end perfect down on the landing to set up for the next jump. And I think a lot of that has to do within your wrists and you know, just being comfy in the air. If you stiffen up in the air, you lock out and you overshoot stuff and you'll land sideways. You know, there's some rhythms here that are up to 20 feet apart. You know, you're jumping 20 feet across, landing and hitting another jump within 20 feet. And so that's a big rhythm. And then there's some here that are only like 4 feet apart. I would say 4 feet apart is just, you know, something good to learn on right there. I've seen a lot of kids here on the smaller rhythm, you know, that don't know how to dive the front end, trip over them with the front wheel and indo, and where on a big rhythm, they'd have time to jump off the bike and over it and bail out of it. And so you got to be careful with the small rhythm also, as much as you do big rhythm. The best of everything is location, and take dirt samples, maybe. It sounds corny, but if you don't have dirt that's going to work, or if it's too rocky, too sandy, or whatever, that's going to be a lot harder to manage that dirt in the long run. So definitely make sure the location has some good dirt, maybe a clay-based, easy to work with dirt, and that'll save you a lot of time right there. If you're working in sandy soil or rocky soil, it's really tough to get your trails going. So that's a big plus to have, you know, some nice clay dirt. Any way you can get water in there, that'll help you out a lot. You want it as vacant as you can get it, you know, as far away from the neighbors as you can, and that's always not possible, but if you can, you know, the middle of nowhere is the best, but then you're going to run into not having water and all that stuff also. So if you go back east, a lot of the times, you know, they're just out in the middle of the woods where it's shaded, and so you wouldn't need water near as bad as you would out here in the west where it's really dry all the time. So it's just different climates and different trails, you know, so you just got to use your head and find the right location. I think keeping the trails clean is definitely like a major thing, because you know, say if you're on city or state land or something and they see it just a mess and you guys are just being a bunch of bums, and that's just one more reason for them to kick you out of where you worked so hard to build. So, you know, just over a few wrappers or cups laying around. So definitely keep your trails clean, and unless you're out in the middle of nowhere, you know, keep the music down and just respect others. You know, not everyone's a dirt jumper. You know, there's people out there that like to enjoy the privacy of their houses, or, you know, wherever your trails are close to. And so there's different people for everything. So you gotta realize that also. And make sure everyone that goes to your trails realizes, you know, to treat everyone, you know, around that area that has to live there in an orderly fashion. You know, just treat them like you'd want to be treated. So, and you'll be golden. The three most important tools that you're going to need is a shovel, rake, and a wheelbarrow. The two types of shovels are a round head and a flat head. A round head is used for breaking up hard soil dirt, and a flat head is used to pack your lips and get the perfect transition. Yard and garden shovels are probably the cheapest, $5, so you can't beat that. And if they do break, it's no big deal. So those are the shovels that I use. A rake is generally used for getting all the chunky dirt off the landing, and maybe on a lip also. After you shave the lip and smooth it all back away, rakes always come in handy. If you need to transport dirt from here to there, just use a wheelbarrow. Tillers used for breaking up hard ground or chunky dirt. Tillers generally a lot of money, brand new. You're talking around $300 or so. But if you go to maybe a yard sale, you can find them for around $50. That helps us out a lot here. Judging speed and distance and jumping is probably one of the hardest things. If there's someone there that's already hit the jump and you're not familiar with it, have them follow them through it. If I'm not sure, I'll ask TJ or Joey Garcia or someone that I'm comfortable with. They kind of has the same riding style, same speed, and I'll follow them through the section, and that always helps out a lot. Here are 10 tricks that you're going to learn. Before doing any of these tricks, you need to be comfortable on the jump that you're trying them over. You should be able to clear the jump with no problems before attempting any of these.
Hi, I'm Jerry Bagley. I ride from Wash Bicycles, Rebel Energy Drink, and I'm here to show you how to do an X-up.
The key to an X-up is, just before the bike levels out, you should have already started turning your handlebars in a clockwise or counterclockwise position. Make sure you give yourself enough time to pull the bars back before you land. Brian Foster, one of my favorite riders of all time, doing a tabletop. Tabletops are easier done on a hip jump, left or right, whatever is more comfortable. With your inside arm, turn bars 90 degrees and push towards the ground. Suck up the bike with your legs into a flat position. Straighten your bars in the bike and prepare to land. Here we have Chris Duncan doing a toboggan. Practice this trick by first doing seat grabbing. When you're comfortable with grabbing your seat, turn the bars while leaning over the rear tire. As you get better, you will learn to dive the front end for better landings and style points.
Hi, I'm Robbie Miranda. I'm here to show you how to do a turn down.
A turn down is a technical trick to learn, but here goes. Pull up the front end while using your legs to kick out towards your back foot. Use your arms to pull the bars into a crossed up position. Straighten your bars in the bike and prepare to land.
I'm Matt Behringer. I'm going to show you how to do a bar spin.
Bolt it onto the boot, then get me some appliances.
Before doing bar spins on dirt, practice bunny hop bar spins. This will help out tremendously. Level the bike out towards the peak of the jump. Pinch the seat with your knees. Throw the bars with one hand while you catch with the other, while leaning slightly over the bars.
I'm Mike Bacon, and I'm going to show you how to do a 360.
A 360 is a great trick. It's one of the funnest ones out. All the tricks you can learn on this video can be added into a 360. Off the lip, you want to try to avoid yanking too much with your upper body, and being smooth off the lip is key here. Turn your head while always looking for the landing. Never stop looking for the landing. Hey, I'm Fuzzy Hawk, and I'm going to show you how to do no-footed can-can. A no-footed can-can is easily learned by doing a normal can-can first. Practice this many times. And for a no-footed can, take your right or left foot over the top tube, take your other foot off and extend it as far as you can, and bring it back on for landing.
And I'll show you how to do a suicide no-hander.
A suicide is done by hitting jump, leveling off while pinching the seat and taking your hands off as far as you dare take them and getting them back on before you land. Sometimes this trick is easier by leaning a little bit forward over the handlebars.
Hey, I'm Fort Stasio, and I'm going to show you how to do a Superman today.
A Superman is performed best by dropping your feet off the rear of the bike while pushing your bars forward as far as you dare. Pull the bars back towards your chest, keeping an eye on your pedals, and before you land, get your feet on the pedals and ride away. This here is TJ Latin. He's going to show you how to do a tail whip. Keep in mind this is one of the hardest tricks out there of this video, definitely. So be careful at all times when trying this trick. Go off the lip, take feet off the pedals, use your foot to kick the rear end of the bike around while using a circular motion with your arms. Make sure to lean over the front of the handlebars enough for the bike to rotate smoothly. Spot your pedals, hop on them, and ride away way stoked. One of the first things you want to do is get some safety gear, for sure. This is all reliable. I take it wherever I go. Just a Protect helmet, which is safe for, you know, not the crazy stuff, but at least it's a protection if you do go down. This is great, just being mellow on hot days and all that stuff, and I use that all the time. Say you're doing some crazy stuff, you want to do a full face helmet. It is a little different because you got a mask across your jaw, which protects all this stuff. Bell makes a really nice full face helmet. I use a boneless knee pad. When you're learning, I can't even say how much these mean. They'll save your knees so much. This is the first thing that usually hits on my style of wrecking, so that's always great to have. While you're learning, a nice shin pad to cover up your shins from pedals floating back and hitting you in the shins. Definitely want those. That's a big, big purchase right there. You got to do that. Thing would be gloves, you know, because you always put your hands out when you're wrecking. A chest protector sometimes. I also use ankle braces sometimes. I don't have those here. You know, bailing out of high, big jumps, you might want to buy some ankle braces. This is all in due time, you know. I'm not saying you need ankle braces now or anything, but definitely a helmet is the main thing. Knee pads the second, shin pads the third, gloves the fourth, and any other article of equipment that you find suitable for your riding style later on, you go ahead and do it because you can never be too safe. If you know your limits, you'll go far. And but say you do get past your limits, that's when you need to learn how to wreck and roll. You know, one of the things when you eject from the bike, you know, you want to throw the bike as far away as you can under your feet, you know, or you know, to the side. Get away from the bike because you don't want to land on it. And I had a wreck like a few months back where I landed on it. I couldn't get away from it, and so you want to be careful with that stuff. And that's an art in itself too. I think Sean Butler and a few other riders have that down to a science. Those guys know when there's something wrong in the air, they know how to eject from the bike, and so that's definitely a goal that you need to achieve also when you do when you're learning how to do all this is learning how to wreck. You want to avoid sticking limbs straight out, you know, because then you can do a lot of stuff to your knees, your arms, your wrists. If you're waiting more than 5 minutes to hit the jump, don't do it. you got to be prepared. If you're just up there shaking and just nervous, don't do it. If you give it time, then it'll all come around and you'll be on your way for sure.